We are starting the show in 3, 2. What is up, everybody? Welcome to Comic Book Club. I'm Alex.
I'm Justin.
I'm Pete.
And we are coming to you live from the internet, as usual, as we do every week. In two places, we're coming to you from Crowdcast, also over on YouTube, the Tube. Hello, the YouTube. Or maybe you're listening to this on the audio podcast. Maybe you're listening to it later. That's okay, too. We love you all very, very much.
No hierarchy. Everyone is on a level playing field.
Yeah. Now, we have some amazing guests for you on the show that we're going to get to in a moment. But first, it's time for everybody's favorite feature of the month. It actually is one of my favorite features of the month because we get to shout out our lovely Patreon supporters.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Yes. Oh, you guys remember this was happening? That's good.
Yes, of course I did. I have these names memorized.
Oh, great. So there should be no problem. This is always very smooth, very easy. There are a bunch of people that support us on Patreon, which is awesome, and we really appreciate them.
Thank you.
So we're going to give a shout out to all of their names. If you come in the middle of this list, as I've noticed a lot of people do, they kind of, come to the show a minute or two late, and they're like, what's going on? We're reading off names of people who support us on Patreon. Kicking it off with Aaron C. Hollis,
Adam Marks,
Adriel Moreland,
Elena Fontenot,
Amy Gonzalez,
Andrew Tillman,
Benjamin Brown,
Carly Welsh,
Chris Terlizzi,
Clemens Luer,
Cordy Bordy Doodle,
Curtis LaRock,
Demand Ryan,
Dan Snow,
Daniel Fuentes,
Daniel Warden,
Danny Haack,
Danny Alley,
Dennis Scott,
Dylan L.J.,
Eduardo Martinez,
Aaron Dorian,
Jeffrey Risher,
Gerard de Villiers,
James Connolly,
James Kurtz,
Jason Donahue,
Jolene,
John George,
Jonathan Jong,
Joshua Gibson,
Catherine Annison.
Joshua W. Broxton. You skipped one, Pete, but I came right back and fixed it right up.
Well, way to be smooth about it and
Seamlessly.
mention
Very
it more.
seamlessly.
Let's keep talking about it, you dick.
I don't think anybody noticed, guys. Casey Newhaven,
Kevin Grimes,
Kevin Kleinrock,
Kieran Broderick,
Cody Thomas,
Lee Brown,
Luana Thomas,
Lucas Sink,
Mark Zeller.
Mask Up Motherfucker, Mouth and Nose,
Nice.
Megan Thigpen,
Mike Dargenio.
Mitchell McDonald,
Nick Grayson.
Official CBC chef, Brett Macris.
It's your damn right.
That's true.
Power
Omnia
move.
Soul Art,
Oren Dix,
Pedro A. Rangel.
Perry Taliaferro,
Pete's Punisher Slippers,
Primetime, Paulie G.
Rev Mikey,
Sarah Schunemuller,
Sarah Schaefer.
Scott Carpenter,
Scott England,
Jamila Rush.
The 12 Bench,
Victor Perez,
Will Buchanan.
and Zika's Viral Comics. Thank you all for supporting this month. And for those of you who don't support us, thank you for sticking through that perfect rendition of everybody's names. We really appreciate it.
It is a rendition because it's our sort of licensed version, like a cover is what we do. We're covering your lives.
Yes, exactly. Now, as mentioned, we do have a bunch of great guests in the show. I'm going to try to welcome two of them. That's right, two at the same time into the stream here right now. They are Scott Zakarin and James Gavsie. They both work on the new Rideshare podcast, which is a very cool project. I'm very excited to talk to them about it. Hello, Scott. How are you? You're in the stream here, and there is James.
Hey.
How are you guys doing?
We're doing well. How are you guys?
Awesome.
Great.
Thanks for joining us on the show tonight. This is a lot of dudes and a bunch of squares is what's going on here.
Bunch of squares. Who are the squares? We'll find out in this interview.
I'll volunteer.
I'm not going to say anything for that reason.
So I want to kind of like set the ground with the project first, because I think it's not just an interesting podcast, but it's also had an interesting start the way that I've understood it. It almost seems like there's more going on, but like it's Black Mirror basically kind of in podcast form, focusing on apps. And correct me if I'm wrong about this part, but it started off being a bunch of different episodes, but then Rideshare was the most popular one and got spun out into its own larger podcast. Am I kind of in the right area with this thing?
No.
Oh,
I just want to say no. Well, James is
Okay,
going like
all right.
this. I'm like,
Thanks, Scott.
yeah,
Appreciate it.
I mean, you got some of it right.
Yeah.
That's all we aspire
That's
to.
great. No further questions. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
So
Well,
here
thanks
it
for
is.
having us on. Appreciate that.
Yes.
The first season, yes, was an anthology season, but it's a shared universe. So you see a lot of crossover between the characters. And Rideshare was one of our favorites. It was one of the audience's favorites, but really it came down to what kind of story has all the elements we want, plus has the sexiest male star voice-wise that there's ever been in Eric Martzoff. So like, okay, well, that works. So here we are.
Well, let's focus in on rideshare in particular. Obviously, there are a lot of things that are pretty scary about like your Ubers, your Lyfts, and everything. So I can kind of see where you're going or where the inspiration came from. But was there a specific experience, something that went wrong that you were pulling on at first, or was it just generally the idea?
No, I never get that. I get that question a lot. I think I have kids, and I realize that there's a very different thing for my son to take a ride share than my daughter. So you get into a stranger's car and so forth. It just sort of occurred to me, and then I started to ask rideshare drivers about their stories and thought this is a fertile ground. Although I do feel guilty sometimes that there's a thriving business that a lot of people depend on, and we're turning into this demon's trap. But
Well, to be fair, though, I mean, hitchhiking when I was a kid was the thing my parents were like, never
That's true.
hitchhike. Never get in a stranger's car. And now it's like, God, I wish I could get in a stranger's car. I want to go home. The bar's closing.
Yeah, by the way, just to let you guys know, I don't believe Scott Zakarin's answer whatsoever. I've asked him that same question. What's the inspiration of this? I do believe there's a really cool story somewhere involving Scott, something illicit happening. He won't say it. He's sticking to the story. That's where we're at.
Okay.
Check
We're
me out.
gonna get
I
it
know
out
what
of
you're
you
talking
tonight.
about. I know what you're talking about.
Oh, did it?
Oh, yeah, guys, are you allowed to curse on this?
Absolutely.
Of course.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. You're full of shit.
Oh, fair enough.
Check his star rating.
That's right.
Exactly. I've been
now-
watching your videos, guys, by the way.
Thank you.
Great idea.
And I like it. You're in New York City, right?
Yes, we are.
What part?
I'm in Brooklyn. Justin's in Brooklyn. Pete used to be in Brooklyn. Then he left us for Philly, which is very
Philadelphia.
rude.
But we still sleep in triple bunk beds every night, just like
There you
everybody
go.
thinks.
That's nice.
We all do that.
That's nice.
We all
I
do.
like that.
I
Classic
snore.
podcast.
Where are you guys based right now? One of you, at least one of you, is in Brooklyn, right?
No.
Okay.
Scott,
I don't know
Scott's
any of
yeah.
my
originally-
details.
No, that's okay. Scott's originally from Brooklyn, I believe.
Oh,
Right?
that's
No,
what
Long Island. Long Island.
I don't know many things about Scott.
Yeah.
I'm in LA. That's important.
Yes, you can tell by the lovely light that's falling on you.
Yeah, a lot of bright light.
Beautiful.
It's sunny here. It is sunny here.
Yeah, his surfboard, if you just tilt the camera to the left a little
Exactly. It's a beach. There's a margarita machine. I see it.
Now, as you can probably tell, our podcast is very well scripted. We spend a lot of time planning out all of the
bit.
lines.
I got
and
my
everything.
script. Here,
Yes.
I got my script.
Yeah,
Excellent.
Good.
But seriously, you have a pretty heavily scripted podcast. It is playing out like a radio show. This almost feels like a dumb question at this point, given that there are fiction podcasts as a genre in and of itself. But what goes into it? What is like the basics of when you're putting together a podcast like this?
Okay, so starting from the podcast standpoint.
Yeah, sure.
So starting from it's how do you tell a story that people can't see? So how do you do something as opposed to in movies? We always say, show it, don't say it. So here we got to say it, don't show it. If you can't show it and make it sound natural, and you also have to know, where people are sitting in a room. You have to know what the location is, who's in the room. So you have to come up with a lot of things that transition you from one scene to another with sound effects or voila, and things like that. I love doing it. Actually, it creates a movie in the mind, and it's really fast. I mean, how can I make a $200 million Avengers movie? It's like that sounds as good and looks as good. Don't put a bunch of actors onto a green screen and see, do behind the scenes. Here we are behind the scenes on a green screen.
Is there a point that you ever ran into a problem with the storytelling, given that it is audio only versus you have that not having that visual element?
Right. So on the podcast, of course, and I am tortured by holes that we have, like you always have to use the person's name, right? You got to constantly remind you of the name. So we sort of made it part of the, person's names are part of the vernacular, right?
I understand what you're saying, Scott Zakarin.
Yes. Comic book club. You don't have your real name on there, man.
I don't.
He's in witness protection.
I got Pete and Jay Sizzle.
Yeah. Pete, Justin, Alex.
What was the question?
Honestly,
that's the beauty of it. There wasn't a question.
Was there no question? In that case, James can answer it. Go.
Sure. Well, he put a lot. I came onto the team after they'd already produced the scripted audio versions of the podcast, and they were absolutely fantastic. And then we pivoted towards a visual medium and took a lot of insane production values that we put into the audio, and then put that into this amazing visual representation of what Scott wanted to kind of bring out to the world. It's very different in terms of the quality and the storytelling all coming to life. Again, imagine amazing production values. You're listening to this, it's a movie of the mind, and now you have this visual representation of what we're doing with the motion comic on YouTube.
Cool.
Yeah.
So much of this came from James Gavsie, though, the visual look, who dug out, knows that world because he's does he look like Captain Marvel? Wait, say the magic word, Billy.
Shazam? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
That Captain Marvel. I was like, I'm not 100% sure what you're going for, but he does not look like Brie Larson.
When you said Shazam, when you said Shazam, something happened to you.
You got it right.
I saw it.
You guys tell me that's not Captain Marvel.
The medication
you're glowing. You're glowing.
The medication kicked in, and I I'm a comic book nerd through and through. I'm an MMA guy and a comic book nerd, so it's a really cool combination. And I remember we were talking with Scott. Scott's got a big background in comic books as well, and we're thinking like, how do we bring this to life? COVID hits, productions are non-existent. What can we do? And as a team, we came up with an alternative, which was this motion comic.
Not having to see each other.
You touched on this a little bit, but when you are taking something that like the podcast, which you have multiple episodes at this point, and then taking and changing the motion comic, what did you have to tweak? What did you have to change? What did you have to take out? Was it multiple instances of people just saying each other's names, or was it more than that?
No, it's actually funny because I knew there was a visual, I kept seeing the visual in my head. And so sometimes I forgot to say things like, "Oh, that's a gun in your hand." Right? It's like, "Oh yeah, we'll see the gun." No. So, there's various. I'll tell you, you didn't ask this question, but I'm going to answer it anyway. The beauty of doing it this way is that everybody is being that they're in the same place. Like, I don't know what we're recording on here, but I imagine we're all on separate tracks, so we can change.
Yes.
For the sake of this, let's say yes.
Yeah. Okay. So say you're on separate tracks. We could mix each other really easily.
Yes.
You can talk over each other. We could take out stuff. That's something that we have now because we're all producing from our own pads. Some people are professional voice artists that have great studios. Others are in their closet. Yeah. And literally in the closet, not like Tom Cruise in South Park in your closet, but literally in the closet.
It is a wild time because on any work that I've done in the world where we have to get sound from someone, I was working on a commercial yesterday, and we had to we have all of the agency people, the client people, the voiceover talent, and everyone's in like a weird space. People are like hiding their backgrounds. It's such a different world right now, but still progress is happening, to your point.
Progress is happening. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
So there's a bunch of different. Look, we're reaching out for new styles and new ways to tell stories because there's nothing like being out in the pack first and getting arrows in your back. Story of my Wikipedia. But there's a bunch of things happening in entertainment. The fact is that did you guys always do the podcast and video?
No, we have done it before, but certainly. We've moved it to this since the pandemic started.
But this is what's happening, right? So this is a forcing function, the pandemic, obviously. I listen to a lot of your podcasts, and they're funny, and I feel like I'm bumming it out.
We're journalists. We cover real topics. And
you do? It's hardcore.
But I will say, to your point, we've talked about we used to do this as a live show and record it live in a comedy theater here in the city.
Oh, really?
For 13 years or whatever. Yeah. Pandemic hits, we go to video, and honestly, it's going to be hard to go back.
Yeah,
just,
to your point.
for the audience of it, because we really, this level of interaction while we're recording is super interesting and different and fun.
It's to your point, when you're right, when we were discussing this today with some of the actors, and one of the questions that came up was, well, how is this different than if we were all in studio and we were all together in the same room? And a lot of the actors said, I kind of like this more, because there's a lot less pressure, there's a lot less eyeballs on them, and they can just be much more natural in their performance, as opposed to being like, okay, I better do this at this point and what have you. Scott, I'm just going to say, he directed the episodes. He got some great performances from these actors. And again, the actors love this new format that kind of didn't exist. I guess the point I'm trying to make is, despite COVID and everything, we're learning some great stuff that's going to stay with us, even when the world kind of, I'm using air quotes, goes back to normal.
Strong. Right. Good use of air quotes. And thank you for saying it as well.
Hey, look at this. We got to do Comic Book Club, the movie.
Yes,
finally.
Okay.
Put it on green screen. I'll have it written by tonight. And
great! Wow,
perfect. That's how we write as well.
Rumor has on the message for you got great crafty.
Yes. Very good crafty.
It's
well,
true.
Also working in this method and in this medium rewards meticulous and time-consuming editing. So I guess I imagine you guys are deep. We don't edit a lot, but I imagine you guys have to a great deal.
The whole process with the visual, meaning the motion comics that we're doing for Rideshare, and you can see them all on the Digital Sky YouTube channel. Feel free to subscribe. These are it's money. Like. Yeah, and feel free to send it to Scott. Order me directly.
No, to Comic Book Nation. They have.
Oh yeah, that's right. We'll split it. We'll give them a cut.
They have a Patreon. And after this, now that I see that you read people's names out, you got my $2.
All right.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll give you $2.50.
Go.
We're making so much money in this episode.
It's crazy. Don't spend it in one spot. It's crazy. But yeah, no. Every episode of the motion comic we do for Rideshare the series is there's after you do the voice recording, and then you have to do the the sound engineering and the editing of the audio track. Then while you're working with the artist to get all of the images and making sure this lines up with your shot list, and then you have to give it to the animator, and then you're editing all of this at the same time. It's a monster process, but so worth it at the end.
There's only a few of us, really. It comes down to we wear a lot of hats. I mean, we're just a little indie film company, guys.
Can you talk about the art style? Can you talk about the art style a little bit? Like what went into choosing the right art style for the motion comic, particularly given if you're both comic book fans or have a comic book background? I have to imagine you're a little discerning about what you're actually going to put on there visually.
Okay.
Scott sold me. Sorry, go ahead, Scott.
No, I was gonna say, James, you take it.
All right, sure. So, I had a lot of ideas for styles and what
What's
have
that,
you.
James?
What's that? What are the ideas?
What are those, James?
What are
Sorry, we've taken over. Yeah, sorry, guys.
Welcome to my world, by the way. Welcome to my world.
We could kick back a little bit.
That's right. So Scott sold me on this, and he said, I'm picturing something like Sin City. And I'm like, done. Okay, that's it. Got it. Perfect.
Then we did something that was nothing like it.
Yeah, then we did not. So you can see the Sin City type of influence with a little bit of color for emphasis on certain parts of, the story, or when something's about to happen, or to act as just an Easter egg that we don't really talk about, but we kind of let our fans know, hey, what do you think it is? We leave it open for interpretation.
Yeah, here we can.
There we go.
Actually put it up a little bit.
There you go.
Wow,
yeah.
We are testing our abilities.
Really, I got a new computer yesterday, so I'm really trying to push it as much as possible. We'll see what happens. But yeah,
I have an important question after you do this.
Yes, go ahead.
No, you do your thing.
Oh, no. I was just going to ask about, so obviously we're seeing the still frames here. We're seeing on the motion graphics. You might have just kind of touched on this a little bit while I was getting up the thing, but how much of it is the artist versus doing it, say, in a suite, like an Adobe or something like that?
Well, there was two different people. So there was Ian Moss, who was the artist, and he came up with this great artwork based off our specifications and shot lists and what have you. And then there's the animator, Chris Warren. And Chris, brought a lot of magic to this. He all of a sudden had to match up the, what was happening in the scene with the artwork, with what we wanted to have happen in terms of animation. And again, it's a motion comic, so it's not, an absolute animated series, but what he did is really bring it alive in very specific ways. And then Scott came in and added, what I call like the Hollywood touch, saying we need to transition here. This should have a different angle here. It was a monster collaborative process between a tight-knit group to create all of this.
So by Hollywood, I mean I took lunch. I decided to go behind their back.
And these are what the actors look like, right?
Well, in this particular case, this is what Eric Martzoff, who's the star, looks like.
Sorry to interrupt while you guys are talking. My son's first tooth just fell out.
Hey!
Oh my gosh! Congrats!
Milo, do you want to show off?
This is what I'm talking about.
Off? Oh man, this is where it's life.
What a time!
Oh
yeah!
Congratulations!
That's so exciting.
I held him on my lap.
Oh, that's great. Okay, I got to go back to the show.
You're very handsome. I guess your mom's very beautiful.
Yay!
We did it. Did you not?
Sorry about that.
Is that what you're saying?
No,
we did it?
No. So what were you saying?
I don't know. What were we talking about?
we were talking about the art.
Splitting the tooth fairy money.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, I think, Scott, you had a question that you were going to ask right before I put on the footage.
I don't remember what it was.
Oh, great. This is great.
That was a long time ago.
So now that you've got this first digital comment then, or digital motion video, what's next? Are you thinking about expanding to more of those? Is there a third season of the podcast? Where are you heading?
Can I back up one thing that James just said?
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, just like the debates. I'd like to respond to that.
I yield my time.
Oh, you didn't mean I had to. So, a big part of this is like I've had a good relationship in the comic book industry. I was very close to Stan Lee, and what he would call this would be comic books with panel graphic literature. So, in our sense of this is, well, we got rid of the panels. Right, so we're outside the panels telling our story, yet it's still comic book themed and feel. And really, to me, it's like I had a couple of friends who saw it the other night, and I think they may have been a little on Mother Nature. Mm-hmm. And so they're watching it. One guy just lost it at watching the animation. It's like, they're moving, right? And the other one said, I don't get it. I'm like, well, what do you mean? She goes, I just don't, I can't follow it. I don't understand it. And then I said, well, were their mouths moving? Says, I don't know. I'm like, don't worry about it. I'm like, these are drawings. Their mouths aren't moving. It's a drawing.
So
make believe.
So let's get back to what's next then for the podcast. What are the next steps at this point?
Okay, so real quick, and then I'll let James tell the good part. So our original 10 episodes, we're going to start to release them. We're going to do digital versions of each one of them.
Oh, wow.
So that you're going to get a chance to see all of the rest of the episodes. Once we do that, we're going to get a feel what works best for the art, for workflow, but most importantly, what did the audience gravitate to? And that might be our next story as part of the DSU.
Cool.
Digital Sky Universe.
Yeah.
James,
so we work.
Did you tag that today?
Yeah, well, we're working on the artwork. Yeah, it's ours. We own it.
We're the DSU.
We're the DSU. So you've got the MCU, you've got the DC, entertainment universe. We're doing.
They get it. They get it.
Do they? Scott? Do they really?
I think they get it.
Do they really? I've had to explain it to you 5 times. Scott. Exactly.
Okay,
so
but they're smarter. Look at they're New Yorkers.
That's fair.
Shazam.
So.
Shazam!
Jesus. Why would you do that? Now I got to go hit someone.
Put your costume on, man.
So what we want to do is create this amazing connected universe, right? Mm-hmm. And what we've done is we've weaved this tapestry. Really, Scott? Asshole. So, see, Scott's 300 miles away. So he's feeling safe. I'm kidding. It's just a thing I do. So we
never interrupt each other on our podcast.
Yeah,
totally.
We all wait our
turn.
Yes,
yeah.
Turn.
I like the way you guys say your names. You definitely have a rhythm on that. when you first tune in.
Thanks. We've been doing it for literally 15 years at this point.
I think it's like 18.
I noticed the happiness in your voice. We've been doing it for literally 15 years. I'm not sure what's
you should have seen us back then. So we're only 21, guys. Seriously. So here was the question from before.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot it. So keep going.
Well, yeah, we were hearing about the universe, so we want to kind of finish up on that part.
Oh, yeah, you did the universe, and now I remember my question.
Okay, great. Okay, so we're creating a connected universe. So everything that happened in the Digital Sky anthology series, which was our scripted audio podcast, all of that, kind of exists in the same world that happened in Rideshare, the series. And there's some really cool references back and forth. Some characters from the first season come in and make an appearance in the Rideshare motion comic. We make reference to other things that happened in the first series. And the really cool thing, the whole vision is to keep building on that connected universe. So regardless of what story comes out or regardless of our next steps, it's all going to be connected. You'll have to go back to one season to see all the full picture about what's going on right now. And it's just to create that really cool interactivity for our fan base that so far seems to really love the bigger universe concept.
So yeah, just rewarding people for paying attention.
Man, yeah, I love that. And obviously, as comic book fans, we love a shared universe. We do have a question here over on Crowdcast for the two of you from Edward. He says, for Scott and James, when coming up with the characters of Keith and Lydia for Rideshare, what made you decide to make them both the way they are as a con man and a femme fatale?
Well, Edward is a friend of ours from the show. So, hey, Ed, what's up, man? He's in England.
So he should know. He should know.
Yeah, what you told me.
Don't even answer this question. Don't give him the time of day.
Yeah, go to the message boards over at our episodes. Hey, you're back. So, so the question is, why those two characters?
Mm-hmm.
I would say in the character of Keith, I never expected him to be as dynamic as this actor came in and was, and just really just own it to the point of where it was a better character than I had on the paper. And there's something about this actor in general where he's like this very humble, sweet guy, Eric Martzoff. You wouldn't know it, and yet is better looking than everybody and can sing and can do everything known to man. And he's like this little humble, insecure guy. So go figure. He ain't little, but
Yeah, he played. He was Booster Gold on Smallville for a couple episodes.
Awesome.
Yeah. But and seriously, a super cool guy, like really good guy.
Nice.
We would have said that anyway, by the way.
Well, let me ask you this then.
Real quick, Alex, just to be clear, now Scott is doing Comic Book Club, and James and I are going to go do some other stuff.
Oh, okay. That's great. Now
Are you guys really doing some other stuff?
Yeah, we're doing some other stuff. We're doing some other stuff down here.
It's much cooler stuff.
James is a happily married man. I really think that is inappropriate.
We're not in for the commitment. We're not in it for the commitment.
Yeah, Jay's out on the bottom. That's what I always say. So, as comic book fans, before we let you guys go, what was your first comic or original fandom? Like, what was the thing that got you into comic book fandom?
I got my answer, Scott. Go for it.
My answer is that I love Superman since I was a little kid. So all I did was read everything stupid, and they had the stupidest plots back then. It was great. It was like right between the Golden Age and the Silver Age. Superman would get a tiger head, and Jimmy Olsen would be everything. It was a great time. And then later, I found Spider-Man, and that's when I found that a character could be that cool, that different, and has a part of his personality that stays consistent. Which is
right.
And then you had, at the same time, you had those drawings by the shooters, right? Not the shooters. Who am I thinking of? Romita.
Yeah.
Romita. Yeah. So that was my inspiration. And then James Gavsie is Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
There you go.
What do you know?
Bring it back around.
Yeah. I've loved, comic books forever. I do a show called Who Would Win, where we debate who would win, based off Luke Skywalker versus Spider-Man. Yeah, it's insane. My wife's super happy that as a grown man, that's what I do. It's who I am. But
happy wives around this group, I'm sure.
Yes.
As you're waving around
25 years.
That's good. No, my favorite, oddly enough, you'll never guess, my first superhero, who I still have a soft spot for, is Shazam. because where I grew up, it's so true. No, it's true. Where I grew up,
a little on the nose, honestly.
It is. You do what you know. And I love Shazam. I grew up with a lot of people in Canada who were Middle Eastern who just loved Shazam because they all thought he was this Egyptian superhero. And they said, yeah, you look like Billy Batson and you could be the. And growing up, as you can tell, I'm a guy, but I've got this kid mentality. So, the 7-Eleven scene in Shazam, I have played that scene out with my son millions of times, to him groaning and me just acting like a complete idiot. I love it. I absolutely love it.
That's awesome.
That's fun.
Before we let you go, plug where people can check out the rideshare. Oh, did you remember your question?
I remember my question.
Okay.
So are two of you closer than the other two? Like, is it like all three are equal friends?
Good question.
Oh my God.
Well, are two of us?
Honestly,
Justin and Pete did go to see a movie together one time.
Yeah, that's right.
true.
On my birthday. That's true.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
but we
Casablanca.
sat. We
and
went.
and two of us are Jedi married, so
Mhm.
yeah,
Which is
that's
Justin and Pete again.
Is that true? You guys are Jedi married?
That's true.
Yes,
Yeah.
we had.
To each
So, I
other?
don't,
How does it work?
To each other. Yep. Yeah.
Okay, I'm in.
Someone married us on a podcast once.
I'm in. Can a Jedi Captain Marvel Shazam?
Are you asking for a Jedi foursome? Is that what's...
Guys, we could just
With
call it
double
a foursome.
lightsabers?
We could just call it a foursome at
What
this point.
just happened?
I'm
you
gonna
just
go-
joined the Jedi orgy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's like the
Force-
order. It
James
was a
is
little
very, very
forced.
I'm calling Sith on this one. I'm gonna politely kind of exit out of
Sith.
this.
That's my safe word.
Oh.
Mine's
we're
popcorn.
we're all equally friends. No division.
That's not
And
the real-
I mean the five of us, not just the three of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Exactly. I agree.
So when you get off the phone, though, you're gonna go. Was that? Did you really feel that way? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, Scott, I think this is the last comic book club show.
Yeah. Why are you
Well,
trying to
it's
destroy it?
Down. Yeah.
Where can people check out Rideshare and Digital Sky and everything else? Where's the best place to track you guys down?
Well, you can find us on YouTube by subscribing to the Digital Sky channel. It's literally Digital Sky. You can see all of the rideshare episodes there, binge watch and binge listen to episodes 1 through 10. You can find Digital Sky and rideshare on Apple Podcasts, wherever else you listen to your podcast by looking up Digital Sky. Also,
Awesome.
find us on Twitter, Instagram at Digital Sky Pod, and on Facebook.
That's amazing.
And very important to say that we will. I'm finding me the same place. Digital Sky. I'm all Digital Sky. And especially on the videos, a lot of comments like our friend Ed who gives us and then this firsthand up guy Peter CBC. No, that's
Yeah.
okay. Go ahead.
Scott, James, thank you so much for coming on. The project's awesome. Excited to check out more of it. Good luck with everything.
Congrats.
Thanks
Well,
so
you
much,
guys
guys.
Thanks. Oop, I think I just cut him off.
Oh no!
I'm always
Yeah.
using trigger finger. That's the
He was
thing.
in the
I'm
He was like
He was in the middle of saying something. I'm so sorry,
He was
Scott.
like,
And also the secret life is come on.
Shoulda got it.
Once again, Scott and James for the Rideshare podcast. You can check that out, as they mentioned, on Digital Sky, and it is a lot of fun. I'll tell you what, we're going to invite our next guest into the stream here. He is the creator of BRIC-A-BRAC, a Christmas action comic book, which is pretty awesome. It's on Indiegogo right now, crowdfunding. And it's a lot of fun, and we're going to show it off to you and talk about it. And ladies and gentlemen, here's Ryan. Hello.
Hey, what's up, man?
Not much.
First of all, before we start, this is really weird. My son's second tooth just fell out. And
Oh, my God.
That kid's got a problem, Alex. It's not as.
teeth pouring out of his mouth.
Did he start a child fight club? In your
Yeah, what's up,
I
man?
think so. My daughter doesn't look great either.
She keeps growing teeth.
Yes. Ryan, thank you so much for coming on. Teeth Talk
Thanks, guys.
aside. BRIC-A-BRAC, you got the second issue. What do you like so much about Christmas, Ryan? What's going on?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of great Christmas stories, a lot of great characters we associate with the holiday, and it just seems like it's just asking for someone to take all of those ideas and just kind of smash them together. And that was, and whether it be the Rudolph Red-Nosed Reindeer or the Rankin Bass universe, really, because it is a universe, because those movies are connected. That was a huge inspiration. And then, of course, all the other holiday specials. And just if you can combine that mythology and then change the characters in a way that makes it still unique and fresh, then that's what basically the story is. So it's just kind of making a fully realized world with all these Christmas pieces we're familiar with already.
I don't want to go back to the teeth talk, but I just have to comment on this. Kevin said Alex's family is part shark. The crazy thing, I don't think I had this, and I don't think my wife had this. Justin loves this.
Don't know where you're going. We
So
are part shark.
both my daughter and my son had this, and I never heard about this before my daughter had this. Both of my kids have had shark teeth, which is an actual thing. And what it is when you have the baby teeth, but your big teeth grow in, but the baby teeth don't fall out yet. So you have basically like extra teeth behind your teeth, like a shark does. And it takes a while for them to fall out. There you go. So they actually had shark teeth.
Yeah, I feel bad. You're interrupting our guest talking about the
No,
project.
this is
to
all
talk
a
about
long
your
way to
kids'
get back
teeth,
to
too.
Herbie wants to be a dentist.
Yeah. Oh my
That's
gosh.
the same.
That's
Actually, though, we can get back and talk about your book. I just wanted to comment on that. But the action of this book is really fun. And one of the things that I really liked about it is the art, in the best way, seems really reminiscent of Scotty Young. Like there's a lot of sort of the fun development of the characters there. So I was curious, particularly given this is the second issue, what has developed about the art? What has changed, as well as your approach to this cool Christmas action story?
From the beginning, and changed in what way?
So from the first issue to the second issue,
Okay.
What did you, I guess, learn from doing that first issue to doing the second issue?
Well, so I'm collaborating with an amazing artist named Raphael Sam. And so we together, I think not only have we learned to collaborate in a better, more effective way, I know kind of how to kind of communicate a scene better to him in a more effective way, I think. But I think also this story, this specific issue is more character focused. I think with the last one, it was really just about throwing people into this universe that was very strange, and there were fictional characters just walking all about. And, there's a lot of reactionary things going on with it. It was really the beginning of the journey. But with issue 2, I think I wanted to take a step into figuring out who these characters are, what their goals are, and how they disagree with each other. It is the second issue. It's kind of like an act 2. So characters will be at odds with each other. And by the end of it, it's going to be, they're going to be at their worst point. Obviously, because we're going to have a third issue, which will conclude the story. But as with most second acts, it will be, at the lowest point. So these characters are going to go through a lot of changes. We're adding new characters to this story. So we are adding Jack Frost, who is really a tragic character in the sense that he did a lot of things that he regretted in the past, like starting this war on Planet Christmas, and he's trying to redeem himself. And so there's a really complicated character in him. We're adding some more fun characters, and it's just all around more focused on the journey of the characters themselves as opposed to just showing people the world.
Real quick, back to my kid's teeth again. No, I'm.
Oh my God, I was about to lose it.
He does this every week.
I want to say this really looks amazing. I'm really impressed with the art, the storytelling, and the paneling. We look at a lot of comics, and this is really some great stuff, man. So congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
Given that you do have a bunch of different Christmas characters, was there any that either were off limits or you did not want to use at all?
Let's see. I think, I don't know. I think that, I think the ones that aren't like obviously licensed, I think Rudolph is licensed, or at least sort of licensed. I'm not sure. I think there's some weird technicalities with Rudolph, I remember hearing, but I just wanted to use the really classic ones: Jack Frost, Father Christmas, and then we have the Ghost of Christmas Past, Present, and Future. We have Good King Wenceslas, so characters that are only maybe in one song, but then we're going to develop their mythology, because all we really know about Good King Wenceslas is that he did something kind for someone who is, at least if we're looking at the song, there's not really that much there to his character, so there's a lot of room to explore. I'm trying to think of the other characters. The Sugar Plum Fairies are in it. The Nutcrackers, have always been known as a hero, and so we kind of changed that, and now they're the enemy, right? And so we kind of flip that, and
I've never trusted them.
Right. They look so badass.
Yeah.
And they always have, even if they're on the good side or bad side. So it's just like, why not kind of play with that and make them bad? And so I think it was really just kind of taking really classic characters. Like, we're not going to have like Frosty, obviously, but like just characters that are super classic that everyone really knows, that are in all the songs, and then flipping them and to fit this universe. Really,
it is fun because Christmas carols are things that we grow up with, that I think they stick in our heads so hard. They're like, I know King Wenceslas, I know the same little piece of information, so like to have that much of a hook in everyone's head, I think is such a great way to develop a story from.
Yeah, Jack Frost is a character who, I mean, he's been portrayed in a lot of things. So like Rankin Bass had their own movie on Jack Frost, or, you know, he was in the Santa Claus 3 or whatever. And he was in The Rise of the Guardians. But this Jack Frost is a lot different. You know, if you can see visually, he's this golem basically. And so it's just, he's just, you know, I just want to kind of change him around a little bit. It's really just taking what you know, really flipping it on its head, and then hopefully telling a really compelling, fun story with that.
Well,
go ahead, Pete.
One of the questions we had, Joe asked is, do you have a favorite like old timey Christmas movie that kind of like inspired this, or kind of started?
Yeah, I would say
Die Hard. Was it Die Hard?
Get out of here.
Someone actually mentions it. So someone said, did you ever see the Rudolph sequel where he had to rescue the baby New Year? Yes, I have. And that is Rudolph Shiny New Year, which is completely underrated. It should be a classic. And I think it's an amazing. I think it's great. And it has a really good songs. And that was a huge inspiration. I think that one, and I would say, you know, especially for the journey the character goes through, specifically the Polar Express. And I know that the Polar Express has some really goofy elements to it, but really the story, the journey the character goes on, the main character, it's really deep. Like, I think that people don't really look at it because I know it's kind of difficult to take it seriously when they're singing about hot chocolate and stuff, but that character really goes through some deep stuff. And I think that there's more there to explore. And so this definitely is inspired by that our character goes through a similar journey, obviously in a more enhanced way, because he does live on a war-torn planet Christmas. So it's like the stakes are higher than they could possibly ever be, but it's still that same core story of kind of an innocent child who's doubting things about Christmas, kind of having doubts about what this is all about. And then obviously he's going to come to some conclusion at the end as to, you know, should I be on this planet? Or so it's just I would say those are the two huge influences.
That's great. I mean, I watch a lot of the Polar Express because my children love it. And I agree with you. The bell, the sort of story surrounding the bell is really sweet and really like it gets you. But there's so much crazy nonsense in the middle of that movie.
Yeah, for sure.
And the hot chocolate song is fine. It's more the stuff when they get up to Santa's world, the North Pole, where I'm like, what? I leave the room and come back. I'm like, what is all of this?
Like unnecessary conflict, and like the ticket conflict is really dumb, you know. Yeah. And then like there's just so many things that you could talk about, but still the core story is great. Yeah. And I mean, even the book by what's his name, Chris Van Allsburg, is amazing. You know, Chris Van Allsburg is an amazing illustrator, and just his world. And, you know, there's so many visual artists, too, that I was thinking like that inspire my Christmas. I'm sure you guys have maybe a piece of artwork that you look at and you're like, that's what my Christmas is. That's what I think of when I think about Christmas. That's what.
Well, I'm Jewish, Ryan, but
yeah.
But so Alex, sorry, we're leaving you out of the conversation. So
talk about Hanukkah a little bit. Could you talk about Hanukkah? What are your thoughts on that? What's going on with Hanukkah in your book? No, I'm kidding.
Gotcha questions that Alex has been preparing, stewing over the whole time.
I did want to ask you, we've had a bunch of Kickstarter project people on over the past couple of weeks. Your projects are on an Indiegogo. What draws you to that platform versus Kickstarter?
Yes. So we failed a bunch with this campaign. We failed about 3 times or maybe 4 times. I'm not sure in the past year, because obviously trying to get like word out about a Christmas book in May, it didn't work.
Yeah.
Trying in September, even in August, it didn't work. In October, it didn't work. Finally, it did work this time. Like we just funded last night successfully. So that's awesome.
Congrats! That's
awesome. So thankfully we did. But so what I was gonna say was that it's been difficult to do that. But Indiegogo, I've used Kickstarter as well. I did use Kickstarter, and I've used it. And honestly, it's just wherever I get the success. That's honestly where I land. I don't care. It's just if I get the success, that's great. But I would say also Indiegogo does have some benefits. So for example, when my campaign ends in a day or so, I will go into in demand, which means that you can continually sell your product even after your campaign ends. So that means that you're still making money on the campaign and going towards stretch goals, while Kickstarter, it's over. Once you reach the limit, it's over. And 3 to 30 days is really not enough to get the word out, on a campaign. It's really difficult, even if you have all the ads and stuff. So it's just nice to have that. And I would say that's pretty much it, because Kickstarter is adding new things that are making it similar to Indiegogo, and they're trying new things like add-on perks and stuff like that. I would also say one more thing for people who are trying to do crowdfunding is that Indiegogo lets you extend. So let's say if you've gotten if you're at 30 days and you are halfway there, you can extend. So I think it's like training wheels, for people who are early crowdfunding adopters. It is kind of okay, you get another chance to continue with those funds and move forward. So I think it's great that it gives you more tools, but Kickstarter's theory is that you take away the tools and it's more it influences people to want to back it. If you have a limited time, I think, and there's statistics to that too. So it doesn't matter where I land. It just happens to be Indiegogo this time.
So given that you were successful with BRIC-A-BRAC 2, and you've already kind of teased that BRIC-A-BRAC 3 is in the offing, when potentially do you think that will come up? Are you aiming for next Christmas at this point?
Yes.
Is it a seasonal thing?
Yeah, it's a seasonal thing. I think this is confirmed that it must be a seasonal thing. Unfortunately, I would love to have the trade out, and hopefully I will maybe have pages in production and stuff during the year, but it is going to have to be a seasonal thing just because, and then we only have one more book left. It's I'm really excited about it. I can't wait for everybody to be able to read it. But yeah, it's going to be a 3-issue arc.
Awesome. And if I wanted to pick up the issue, can I go to the Indiegogo page and get it, or is there a better place to head?
Yeah, that's the way. So, Indiegogo BRIC-A-BRAC #2 Fantasy Christmas Story. That is where you can get it, and there's still some really good perks for the picking, and you can donate books to the Boys and Girls Club. You can get digital if you're international. I want to give people that option. You can get 1 and 2 physical, and in every single physical book gets a bookmark and art prints. So.
That is awesome. Ryan, congratulations on everything. Congratulations on the book. Merry Christmas in advance.
Thank you.
And Happy New Year.
Congrats, man. Congrats on meeting your goal.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem, man.
Have a good night, Ryan. Cut him off again.
Yeah, come on, Alex.
It's trigger finger.
Breath.
Man, Austin, did you notice how he ignored all the questions about my son's tooth? That was weird.
Yeah, that's really weird.
That was
I'll tell you what,
bad.
Alex. I think a lot of us didn't pick up on the tooth thread that you were leaving. Though it's great to really know the inside of your family's mouth.
Hey. Anytime. But you know what? It's not anytime. It is time, in fact, for This is terrible. I got stuck there. It's time for my favorite section, audience questions, because you all make it up. Here we go. And an audience questions. We're going to go to you guys. We got questions.
That's my best. That's my favorite taking it to audience questions moment.
I think that tooth is in your brain.
It is. It's very hard when your son goes through a life moment and you have to be like, well, now I got to talk about comics with these guys who I talk to 5 times a week.
He's got 31 more times to lose a tooth, and since you're fucking sharks or whatever, we got 40 more or whatever.
Oh my God.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, it is your audience questions. There's 2 ways to ask them. I see a couple of people are already leaving questions in YouTube at the comments section. Drop them there. Also, a thumbs up, a like. We always like those. Crowdcast, we see a bunch of questions to ask a question as well. But I see Pete LePage has his hand raised asking a question. Pete, what's going on?
First hand up guy.
Yeah, I just asked a question because this whole tooth thing has really got people excited. So
It's really the most excitement we've felt on the show in years at this point.
Justin says he's got 2 stories. I know I've got 2 stories. So since you're
two stories, you got tooth stories.
Oh, you're gonna make fun of how I talk?
It's a tooth joke. It's like, hey Pete, what's a dentist's favorite time of the day?
Shut up.
Quitting time.
Cash in the check time, because dentists make a lot of money for fucking around in our mouths.
Fine. You want to hear some tooth stories, is what you're saying, right?
I was
Pete?
wondering if you guys maybe had some, it
sure,
is.
I can tell a quick one. Yeah, I can tell you a quick one before I get into them. So those on video, I don't know how well you can see this. Right in the front, like 2 very sharp teeth right there.
Sharp teeth.
They're like, I call them my vampire teeth. My mom hated them and took me to the orthodontist, and without telling me, had the orthodontist start to shave down one of them with a tool. And I was like, what are you doing? Stop. And it hurt. So we stopped doing it and talked to my mom about it because I didn't want it to happen. But to this day, this one is pointy and this one has like a little flat bit at the bottom. There you go. Not a great story, but I figured I could start off with that.
You just have to drink blood through a glass or whatever, right?
Yeah, like I can bite people, but it doesn't really puncture them. So I just got to times.
Yeah, you're sort of
really get up on that neck.
You're a nibbling vampire.
Pete, you got a story you want to tell, or Justin?
Yeah. I mean, however, when I saw Joe talking about wisdom teeth, he got all 4 pulled at the same time. I got 2 pulled, and it's a question of if you get the gas or not. And I'm pro gas. It was a lot of fun. I showed up with my Walkman, my old school cassette player. I had Bob Marley, and I was high on gas. And I just remember at the end of it, the lady was kind of sewing me up, and I was like, I'm a big shoe, man. Lace me up. I'm ready to go. And it was, I was high for like a full day after that. It was kind of crazy.
A day? I don't know if that was the gas, man. I don't think that stuff lasts 24 hours. Sort of the opposite story I have. When I was in college, I went to the dentist. And I grew up on well water, so there was no fluoride or anything. So I have teeth that are vulnerable because I don't drink. I'm not a big sugar person.
I just love the sentence. I grew up on well water.
Well, I did. I'm a country boy. I don't live in your high society Rochester ways where we eat garbage.
I grew up as a Samara from The Ring.
That's basically what I'm saying. I grew up in a well. When I say on well water, I mean I woke up every morning out of the well, climbed my way out.
Pennies on my head for the wishes the kids made on me.
Every wish I made come true.
Wow, it's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. In my town, we eat our garbage out of bags, not on plates, like you high society Rochester people.
Did you have a moment where you were like, "This one's mine, and I'm taking it back"?
Yeah,
I'm taking them all back. Okay,
I'm a goonie. As I was saying, so I went to the dentist during a college break. He said, "You have 5 cavities. I can't drill them all right now because they're on both sides of your mouth, and I can't numb both sides of your mouth with a Novocaine. So you have 2 options. I can do half now. You can drive back here, which was a long drive." And then do half then, or I can do all of them now with no Novocaine. I was like, bro, do it no Novocaine.
Oh no!
And he drilled those babies down.
Oh, awful.
It was painful, but I'm tough. But that's why tooth stories are terrible.
While we're talking about mouths, why don't we talk about what we're drinking today? The things that are going into our mouths. Justin, what you got there? Looks like you got a nice little beer going on.
I do have a little Brooklyn Bel Air sour. One of my faves.
Excellent. Pete, you have a beer of a sort as well, right?
No. I'm drinking
beer.
A little root beer. No. I'm drinking out of my A&W mug, but I'm drinking a little rum and coke.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Rum and coke.
Because I'm from Rochester.
Nice. I'm having a little
the garbage plate of drinks.
Having a reverse Manhattan here.
Whoa.
It's 2 parts vermouth to 1 part rye. Dash of bitters.
Nice.
Justin knows what you're talking about.
I got you. Yeah, I'm taking it a little easier.
No, it's good. And I got to get rid of some vermouth because I found out you got to refrigerate vermouth the other day. It goes bad.
And again, sour. We talked about this. It doesn't go bad that quickly. You don't need to guzzle vermouth.
Well, but given that, like, we have my wife prefers wine, so she's not really having as much cocktails. I can't finish an entire bottle of vermouth by myself that quickly, you know? So
Mail me a little baggie of vermouth. I'll help you finish
okay,
it.
you're on it.
A sandwich bag.
I'd just like to say, Alex, if I was a bartender and you walked in and said, I'll have a reverse Manhattan, I was like, why don't you reverse your way out of here?
That's a winner right there from Mr. Pete LePage.
Nice. Let's go over to question over on YouTube first. Nelson Martinez says, what are you guys looking forward to most in the final part of Chilling's Adventures of Sabrina, and how much do you all miss Dorcas? Great question.
Oh,
this has been so hard.
So
knowing
Rick,
this is coming
remind me of who Dorcas is, or what Dorcas is. Who's it?
I mean,
just a little confused.
she's the alpha and omega of Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, I think. We have, as you might remember from our Chilling podcast of Sabrina, which is coming back on the 31st, we have a whole section called Dorcas Dish, where we talk about everything that's coming up with Dorcas.
Very short segment. Almost nothing happened in it.
Yes, Ben the Border Collie over here says, isn't Dorcas dead? Yes, that is why we were sad. She died at the end of the last part, so she is not coming back. Part of the reason is she's going to be on a new Netflix show called Fate, the Winx Saga, which is based on a Nickelodeon show. So she's got on to bigger and better things, I guess.
Yeah, and she'll still be called Dorcas there, and she won't take
Every
part
show,
in the
that's her
narrative.
actual name, yeah. Not Abigail Callan.
If
She
they're
legally
smart,
changed
that's
it
what
to
they'll do.
Dorcas. But what are you guys looking forward to? I think we should probably mention that we've already started taping our podcast for Sabrina. So no spoilers.
Alex, dropping knowledge.
I mean, I'm just going to mention it so we can get it out of the way.
Oh,
Specifically
man.
for
I
one
didn't know
member of our trio who likes to accidentally mention spoilers. I don't want to call anybody out, but it's the other
Who could that
member
be?
of
You're welcome.
our show that I'm friends
You're
with.
welcome.
Oh, good. I'm looking forward to. I mean, we've talked a lot about Sabrina's relationships, and like, oh, it's like, who's she going to end up with? What's it all about? But to bring it back to Sabrina the character, I feel like this whole show so far has been about her being in the middle, not able to decide where she goes. And since this is the end, whether they knew that or not when they were making it, I'm excited to see where she will sort of go or land or make some strong choices for herself. And I love this show. It's a great show.
Yeah, that's the end thing is the thing that I am really most focused on, I think, with this part, is wondering, given that it's not clear how much advance notice they had about actually wrapping up the show. Certainly the showrunner, Roberto Aguirre-Sacasa, seemed pretty open about, like, we were going to go farther with this. Is it going to have an open ending? Is it going to have a cliffhanger? Is it actually going to wrap up in a way that's satisfying to the fans? That's the big thing I'm looking for. Obviously, I'll enjoy the episodes and I'm excited, but I feel nervous about going into them and going through them, knowing there's that ending in sight, which is unfair to the episodes themselves, but certainly that's the way that I'm viewing it.
I'm hoping they got the chance to go back and finish it, or they knew with enough time to really end the show, because that's just upsetting if not.
Yeah. Pete?
Sorry, Pete.
I feel like for me, there's some really great actors on that show. The aunties kill it. And Ambrose is a ton of fun. I'm actually excited to see how this kind of, because there are a lot of moving pieces in this episode, in this kind of season, with there being kind of two people. So like, I don't want to spoil too much. I just tried to catch myself mid-sentence, but I think that
this is why I said this. This is why I prefaced that way.
I think there's some great character stuff that I'm looking forward to.
Pete, you're like a sieve. Breaking news here for the comments from First Stand Up Guy. According to him, Dan Slott just confirmed to me on Twitter that he was on the Love Connection in the 80s and made it past the first round. Some breaking news right here.
That's breaking news, something that happened in the 80s?
That is breaking news. I think that's a good story.
Yes.
And it stops Pete from talking more about what he's not supposed to talk about. So I think it's perfect. Let's always Scoops Towson. Happy to break some news here.
Great question here from Ben the Border Collie. He wants to know which CBC host or possibly favorite guest is most likely to next lose a tooth.
Well, let me say, to tell another tooth story, both my two front teeth are crowns. One of them, I was on a ski lift when I was in high school, and this girl on the other side of the ski lift put the bar up into my mouth, and I spit half my tooth out. Fake. The next year, almost to the day in winter, I was playing snow basketball. Friend head went into the tooth. Fake. Broke it. Then I was like, I put it right back into place. It's like, that should be fine. Not how teeth work. It'll probably be me. It'll probably be me.
Couple questions. What's snow basketball versus regular basketball? Are you just outside? Like, what's up?
You're outside in the snow. It's very dangerous. You dive and tackle each other on a snowy basketball court.
Hard to dribble.
Very, very stupid. There's no dribbling. There's a lot of running and tackling.
So
and
it's not really basketball.
damage.
So it's football with like a very high goal.
Go ahead and finish that sentence there. NFL Super Pro. Really
Super Pro.
goal.
I love that. Very high goal.
Great. Here we go. This is a question from First Hand Up Guy himself. In the Comic Book Club movie Who Plays You 3, please also cast actors as some of your favorite guests. Great. Who plays? I feel like we've done this before. Or maybe we talked about like class actors. I think the last time we asked this, I said Joey Slotnick.
I still don't remember who that is.
Or one of the Sklar brothers. I get them sometimes.
That's nice.
Cool.
But not both.
Yeah. No, they should sub them out. You're like the kid in Full House, Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen.
Yeah.
You can't be on set for a whole day. Too much crafty.
Ooh, I like the suggestion from Edward in the comments. Pete should be performance captured by Andy Serkis.
Yeah, but Justin, I love Justin Tilda Swinton. I think that's right.
I'm ice cold, just like Tilda.
Yeah, you are.
The Superstore guy, Ben the Border Collie, is what I was about to say. There's an actor who's in Superstore, is also in Mad Men for a couple seasons, who does look like me, I look like him. We look like each other.
Chris Grace.
Wait, the main guy?
In what? In Superstore?
Superstore?
Yeah, I get one of the guys. I don't know. I don't watch the show.
Michael McKean.
I know who it is, and you ain't that young, bro.
I'm not saying I'm the same age as him, but
all right.
People tell me all the time I look like him. Well, I'm not making it up. There's not a flex.
For Pete, is there like some sort of famous bear or something like that? Some sort of famous performing bear?
I guess Yogi Bear would be good.
Yeah, Yogi Bear would be good.
Shave his eyes out a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Pete, you are always stealing my picnic basket.
Yeah. All right, good.
The other person I've gotten recently is on the veterinarian on Schitt's Creek that Alexis dates.
Yeah. I feel like last time we talked about this, we said Burt Reynolds, that's why you grew a beard, right, Justin?
Exactly. I'm just trying to, I know Burt's not alive anymore, but I'm trying to replace him.
Wow. Very nice. Kevin asks, what are some of the most memorable holiday comics you've read?
Oh, I always talk about this Punisher Christmas one that was really great, where Punisher went on a real spree, and it was really touching.
There's this is maybe not the most memorable, but wasn't it the Batman Noel, the one that Lee Bermejo did, right?
Yep.
That was like set at Christmas time. That was just gorgeous art throughout. So good story.
I think every year the DC holiday special always has like a couple good stories in it. I'm trying to think of one in particular, none jump to mind. Let me answer the reverse question. Anytime that Santa is involved in a superhero story, I feel like for some reason that really crosses the strings for me. It's just like these guys, because there's some X-Men stories where it's like Santa's a mutant. And it's like, I don't know if that muddies the waters a little bit here.
Why has he never come out to save the world? Why was he not in the Extinction Agenda? That's what I want to know.
And Strife pulls off his helmet to reveal that he's Santa Claus himself.
Love it. Yeah, there you go. There's some stories, I guess. Another question from First Hand Up Guy. Since representation of Jews and Jewish culture in particular bad in December, were your favorite Jewish comic book characters? Spider-Man and Superman both count as Jewish. Sure, that's fair. I mean, I was actually talking to somebody, Brett White, one of our previous guests who I worked with, about this the other day, and he was wondering whether Moon Knight will be Jewish on the TV show. And I feel, because he's one of the few Jewish characters, I feel very doubtful about it, because if it is Oscar Isaac, they're probably going to go more of like an Egyptian route or something like that.
I would think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I bet they will.
And Batwoman, Kate Kane, is also Jewish, but I interviewed for work Carol Andreas, the showrunner, a couple of times, and I remember very distinctly having a conversation with her. I was like, so when are you going to finally do a Hanukkah special? And she paused and was just like, what would a Hanukkah special be like to you? I was like, well, I don't know. I'm not the showrunner. But clearly it's something that she was not particularly interested in. They doubled down very specifically on the LGBTQ plus coming out story for Batwoman there. But yeah, there's not like, other than that, Kitty Pryde, Sabra, I guess. There's not really Ben Grimm.
Sabra's also a little like, it's like
Ben Grimm, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, calm down.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of like
Ben Grimm are the best. The best Hanukkah stories are always Ben Grimm, I feel like.
Yeah, there was actually this guy who was back almost on the Love Connection in the 80s who wrote a really good Ben Grimm story. No, the Bar Mitzvah story that Dad was talking about forever that he finally wrote when he did the Thing series. It was real good, and it was sweet, and I liked it, and he hit it the right way.
Yeah.
First Stand Up guy also says Magneto. We talk about Greg Pak's, what was it, Magneto Testament?
Yes.
Yeah, it was like...
Yeah, is very, very good.
I mean, not a lighthearted holiday romp.
But man, really, really well drawn and well written. It's powerful and beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, I'll also say I haven't done it in a while and I really should go back and read it, but not necessarily for Hanukkah or anything like that. But I used to read Mouse once a year just because that's a phenomenal story and I like to kind of remind myself of it. Not a superhero story, obviously, but certainly a Jewish story worth checking out. Let's see. Let's go over to Guama Hairstonall says, what software do you use to design comic books? Ooh, I bet that was a question for Scott and James.
And
sorry, Guama. Do you guys have any software you use to design comics? You've done digital comics. What did you use for digital comics?
I don't know.
I think this is deep in my brain and maybe not real, but there's an app for iOS called Procreate that I think a lot of comic book people maybe use on an iPad with the
Procreate is what it's called.
I believe that's what it's called. Yes.
Yeah. I just use one called. Never mind. I couldn't think of it.
You could say fucking.
Yeah. Boning.
Yep. Okay. This is apropos.
Yes, Stray Bullet. Thank you for backing me up. Mitch Gerards is always talking about Procreate. That's the artists use that a great deal.
Not flex.
Not flex.
Wow. Alex been waiting to drop that.
Waiting also.
I love it.
That's too close, man. That's too close.
I know. Please send that to me. Can I replace my Netflix opening audio tag with that?
Yeah. Ooh, time to watch another episode of The Queen's Gambit.
Not flex.
I like the idea that implies that every time you open Netflix, they go, Netflix!
Really messes the mood up.
We got a question here from Josh. This is apropos of a discussion over in the food and drink portion of our Patreon Slack today. What's your favorite tequila mezcal cocktail? Justin, you got one locked and loaded, right?
I already dropped one. I drink a lot of mezcal lately, and mezcal, sweet vermouth, and a little bit of Aperol, lime, bitters. Very good.
See, what I do is I take tequila and I put it in a shot glass, and then I just drink it all.
Oh, okay, Kurt Russell. Cool.
I mean, I'll always go for a good classic margarita. I'm a sucker anytime there's a margarita on the menu, particularly if you make it with fresh ingredients. It's very nice. But the other day, I had a Rosita, which I'm forgetting the exact ingredients, but I was looking for stuff because I have this nice Reposado tequila that I really like. And it's a little bit of grenadine. I think it's a little bit of dry vermouth and a couple of other things.
And then I think you put a little nutmeg, and then you put like a cinnamon stick, and then a candy bar, and
you throw out the tequila.
Get rid of that nasty old tequila, and you get yourself a milkshake.
What the fuck are you guys talking about?
I don't know. Drinks. You should hang out in the
appetite.
Question here on YouTube from Matthew Schofield. Breaking casting news about Spider-Man 3 seems to strongly suggest they're doing a live-action Spider-Verse story. Thoughts, guys? So lots of news coming out today. The one confirmed...
Well, first up, what's up, Matt? Thanks for the question.
Oh, sorry, Pete. A couple of things were confirmed. We've known for a while that Jamie Foxx from Amazing Spider-Man 2, everybody's favorite Spider-Man movie, was going to be turning up in Spider-Man 3. There's been a lot of rumors about other things. The second thing that was confirmed today was that Alfred Molina is returning as Doc Ock from Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 2. He's going to be in this next Spider-Man. And there's a lot of other rumors, like Tobey Maguire might be there, Andrew Garfield, Kirsten Dunst, maybe Emma Stone, possibly some other people. I don't know the status of Paul Giamatti as the Rhino necessarily, but
nobody knows the status of Paul Giamatti. I think he's only doing Toyota commercials at this point.
Yeah, but regardless of what they're doing, I mean, we've certainly talked about the Jamie Foxx thing. I think we talked about that on the Week in Geek podcast a little bit. But what do you think about all this news? Are they full-fledged going for live-action Spider-Verse? What do you think about the casting? What do you think's going on here?
Here's the thing. Live-action Spider-Verse, if they're going to...
Here's the thing. Dustin knows.
I have the thing.
He just got back from LA, so he knows.
All other answers are disregardable. No, I'm just saying, I think trying to emulate Into the Spider-Verse is a risk. And it's, if they want to sort of tell a different story with the sort of multiverse or get into maybe a Madam Web thing, I don't know. But like that movie is so good. It's like a perfect movie. To try to emulate that in live action, like is very difficult, because the whole point of that movie was the style, the way they were able to create this vision in a way that was like unfilmable in live action. So it's a hard task, I think.
I mean,
but if they're doing a Doctor Strange and the crazy multiverse kind of thing, where maybe you can just pop in and out, have some fun with it, because Spider-Man is a fun character. It could, not trying to be this perfect thing as you call it, Justin. Just kind of have a little fun with the multiverse and not try to be another movie. I think there's nothing wrong with that. People love seeing people that they think did a great job with certain characters, and it'd be cool to see them.
I suspect they are doing a live action Spider-Verse. I mean, that certainly seems to be where all of the rumors are pointing. I agree with you, Justin. I'm not totally on board with it, though I did enjoy the first two Tom Holland movies. What I would so much prefer is just put them there as those parts, just like they did with J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson at the end. Like, just have them be there. Jamie Foxx as Electro, Alfred Molina as Doc Ock. There doesn't need to be like, they're from a previous other universe or anything like that.
100%.
It's fine. We can go with it, and it's much more fun that way. But they're probably doing the former thing, not the latter.
Oof.
Give them some credit.
I mean, whatever. I'll watch it, so it's all good. Question from Pete's Punisher Slippers. With superheroes and Star Wars being so mainstream these days, why the hell can't I get away with wearing a cape? If you could be caped, would you? Great question. If you could wear a cape, would you wear a cape?
If you've seen Incredibles, you shouldn't wear a cape. I mean, it's dangerous to wear a cape. It's not really, but wear your flag, man. Do what you want to do. If you want to wear a cape, bless you. Knock it out. Go crazy. I just be careful around fans and propellers and stuff like that.
There are many different kinds of capes. Like, because I agree, an extended neck cape is not ideal.
Like a Lando situation?
But I want, like a cape that comes around here and sort of there's a little, maybe like a little
bib.
brooch.
You're talking about a bib?
Not a bib.
Yeah, like a lobster bib. Or are you just saying you'd like to eat some lobster?
That's called a front cape, and it's great for cleaning food off of your face.
Front cape. Is that what you tell your kids?
Yes. My child, because I sit in the high chair and just make a big mess, and my children are sipping on wine and watching me like I'm an idiot.
I would say probably you also don't want to wear your underwear on the outside of your pants necessarily in real life. Okay. Do it.
Never been a problem.
Right. Do whatever you want. Do whatever you want.
Pete's right.
Yes. Pete's right, I guess. Question here from Hollywood Homer. How do I cook a steak? Justin, any tips there?
Here's the way I've been doing it now that we're inside for the winter. And I'm sure our official chef will weigh
Yes,
in.
Stray Bullet is my answer. That's who I wanted to take this.
Cast iron, like 2 minutes on the stovetop on each side. Oven at like 350, 400. Put it in there for like 10. Pull it out. Let it rest. Go to town. It's perfect.
Now, see, that
Go to
is
town.
what I've
Go to
heard.
town, come back, eat the steak.
Yeah, exactly.
It's great, but grilling is fun. Grilling,
Of course, grilling's fun.
Like, I'm going to do it on the fucking grill because the steak on the grill smells and tastes amazing.
Of course. But I'm just saying, like, we don't all have access to grills, especially now not in the warm weather. And if I was grilling it, I might also still finish in the oven with it for a couple minutes just to get it done.
I always like to just slice it right off the cow and directly into my mouth. Nice and fresh.
Wow. That's fucked up.
Stray Bullet, please tell us how you do it. Please set us straight.
Question here from YouTube. Bandito740 says, I remember seeing Alex's predictive text epitaph show up on my Facebook feed from people who have never seen a comic in their life. What's the most viral internet content you guys have ever been a part of? I'll say in my part, that's probably it for me, which I did 2 New Years ago at this point on Twitter, and still shows up in my feed all the time, and it's very weird. Very nice that people took to it so much, but people still retweet it and play it all the time. What about you guys? What was your most viral moment?
Sorry, I'm reading about the steak over in the
He's reading a cookbook.
Wow, This is so good.
I mean,
hold on, just real quick, because First Stand Up Guy rightly says, read it out loud. Straight Bullet says, who is a professional chef, again, official CBC chef. All right, cast iron blazing hot, sea salt, very little fat in the pan, sear hard on both sides for like a minute, let it rest, clean the pan, get it hot again, repeat 2 more times, let it rest for at least 5 minutes, perfect mid-rare.
Interesting.
I've never heard about that. Yeah, I've never heard of that before. I always went with, honestly, to get back to it, other than the cow joke, I always go with the Alton Brown method, which I read his book and I liked it, where it's you salt and pepper it, let it sit for like 5 to 10 minutes so it really soaks in, 5 minutes on each side, and you're done. But I'll try Brett's thing because he knows
it really depends how good your steak is.
Wait, Adriel Borland says, my son just lost a tooth too. He wanted it on the fun, apparently. Congrats.
Wow.
Adriel, that's awesome. Everybody's teeth are falling out on the show.
Wow, now I got to go rip one of my kids.
Yeah, come on, man. Two string tied to a door.
Fashionable tooth loss.
Yeah. It's so hot right now.
Yeah, I don't want to promise this, but if you are listening to this podcast right now, your teeth are about to all fall out.
Oh, man. Wait, Alex, what were you saying before we got derailed?
What was your most viral moment on the internet?
Oh, right, yeah. I don't remember. Do you guys remember me doing anything like I don't know.
No.
I'm not on the internet.
Every once in a while, you tweet, John Bernthal, great job on Punisher, buddy.
Yeah, except it's to Thomas Jane, unfortunately.
Oh, man.
Accidentally.
I did get into it a little bit with Gabriel Rodriguez a couple of times, but that's about as viral as I get. Like, I get like 14 likes. I'm like, I'm viral.
I shot a segment for Dee Samaro with Bernie Sanders that was that sort of went around, that there were GIFs made, and it still pops up every now and again. I guess that's probably my biggest thing.
Yep. There you go. Yeah, I definitely remember that. This is from Edward Doherty. If the comic book club gang were to ride a 3-person tandem bike, who would be in the front, middle, and back? Would the order... Edward. Would the order also apply to a human centipede type situation?
The answer is yes, and
Nope.
if I may quickly take this, it'd be Alex in the front, me in the middle, and Pete in the back.
That's 100% accurate.
It's 100% accurate. There's no other way. No honest person would ever
I'm
say
not
anything
going to
else.
centipede with you fucking assholes.
You'll do it. You'll do it.
Yeah.
We got to do it for a podcast.
Go viral on the internet, you got to do it, Pete. Jay Citizen says, if you had to do a Hallmark-style Christmas movie with 2 superheroes, who's the girl, who's the guy, and which fictional town does she go to and fall in love with him?
Ooh, interesting. Well, they got to be from different worlds.
Yeah. I mean, I sort of feel like... Oh, go ahead, Pete.
I would love to do an Apollo Midnighter kind of rom-com.
There you go.
And I don't know where I would set them. Maybe Alaska for fun. I don't know.
That's nice.
Oh, great. Yeah, that would be fun. I was going to say, I couldn't think of who the girl is, but Booster Gold, I think, would be a fun male lead for a Hallmark-style movie. He'd also probably be super into it. And somebody for the present, and he has to go home with her on Christmas, and he doesn't know anything about the present. It could be called Christmas Present. There you go.
Interesting.
And he also is Jewish, so he doesn't know anything about Christmas.
Is he Jewish? Booster Gold?
I'm just saying you could make that just like you and your idea, you know.
Oh, okay.
You could inject your idea.
You like Jews, right, Alex?
Jesus Christ, man!
Sorry, I'm trying to connect with Alex about the holidays. Hey, menorah, Jewish, other Jewish stuff,
latkes or whatever. I don't know.
Dreidel,
you like those,
dreidel.
Fucking potato pancakes.
I made you out of clay. I don't know. What about Doug and Warlock, Doug Ramsey and Warlock, get together finally and just become one the way we've always wanted them to at the holidays?
Ooh, you can call it Self-Friend the Halls.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's see if we got anything else here. This is from Joe. What is everyone's favorite retcon in fiction? Oh, that's a tough one.
Fiction? Oh, jeez.
My mind just shut down with all the possibilities.
Well, in A Midsummer Night's Dream, when Shakespeare, I don't know.
There wasn't a lot of retconning going on in Shakespeare's works.
Just stealing.
Wow.
Retcon and fiction.
That's a tough one. That's a stumper.
It's too wide of a. It's like.
This is a very stupid answer, but let me say, I think there's a movie called Dracula 2000, I want to say, and in it they put the idea out there that Dracula was Judas, and he was cursed because of what he did to Jesus to become a vampire. And I was like, huh.
I got real excited because I thought you were talking about Transylvania 65000, and then you weren't. So,
I mean, I'll throw out there Darth Vader saying that he's Luke's father. That's a retcon, right? Because George Lucas didn't plan that originally. So he went back and made sure it worked and then added it in. So there you go.
That's fair. You could say the whole Rise of Skywalker was a retcon as they made it up as they went along to shoot it.
Yeah, well, maybe like just the second part of the word, but not the ret part.
Yeah.
Shots fired. Hey, pew,
There
pew,
you go.
pew. Shots fired.
All right, I'll tell you what. I think that is it for your audience questions. We're going to go on to our next section, which is trivia. And for that, we're going to push it over.
We're going to push it over. You know what, Alex, if you wouldn't mind, just take us out of the feed and let this all be, let the star of trivia shine.
Oh,
here we go.
Thank you.
I'll just, we got a new filter here on Crowdcast that shines a light onto one of the feed. But here we go. It's time for trivia. Take it away, Pete.
All right. Yeah. So this is the part we give back to you. Thank you, Salvin. This is the part we get. Turn down the music a little bit so I can talk. This is the part we give back to you, the lovely audience.
Sorry, Pete. This is your time to shine. So we're just you can't ask.
We're just stepping away, Pete.
We're stepping away for a minute.
This is an opportunity to win $25 free in the form of a gift card to Midtown Comics Online. Who would like an opportunity to win $25 free?
I'll tell you
in the comments. First hand up.
Well, I'll tell you. Sorry to break this bit that we're doing. Over on YouTube, Corey Chickchair says hand up. Do you want to go to another YouTuber?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, there we go. Just to explain how this could work over
on
YouTube.
Wait. Nat wants me to say Jesus is a retcon.
There we go. Corey, Pete's going to ask you some questions. You are going to answer them. Just drop the letter in the comments, Corey, and you will get a chance to win a $25 gift card. Pete, you ready?
And since we're not a part of this, Pete, in the time where in between because of the delay, you have to just vamp a little bit to fill the time.
Okay, great. No problem.
There's going to be a little bit of delay. But here we go. Yes. We're not in it. So here we go. Take it away, Pete.
Great. Today's trivia is on topical comic news. Okay, question number 1, and please listen to all 3 answers before you answer. Who is returning to Marvel to help celebrate the 30th anniversary of Deadpool? Is it A, Rob Liefeld, B, a radioactive Sharpay, or is it C, James Earl Jones? So it's either A, which is the only one that is possible and makes sense, or you could pick B or C and be completely wrong.
This is Pete's time to shine, everybody.
Yeah. So what sucks is I need Alex to look at YouTube. And
No, I'm looking.
No, wait.
I'm here. You just
No,
can't
this is
see
all
me.
you, Pete. You just have to feel YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay.
Search
All
your
right.
feelings, Pete.
Thanks. Yeah.
Corey hasn't answered yet, though.
Pete,
Oh, okay.
I am your father.
That would be awful.
Ooh, good retcon. Ooh, Corey says A.
Okay, great. You are correct, Corey.
That is
Yeah,
correct.
good job, Corey. Okay,
Okay.
I'm out. I'm
Okay,
out
great.
again.
So question number 2. DC announced there would be a new ongoing series that starts in March. Who will be the star? Is it A, Hal Jordan, B, Harley Quinn, or is it C, Halle Berry? So it's either A, don't pick it, or it's B, Harley Quinn, because she's crazy popular right now, or it's C, which, I would love, but Halle Berry is unfortunately not the answer.
Alex, when we come back up,
Yeah.
have all your clothes off. Be completely
Oh,
naked.
absolutely. They have been off the entire time.
Okay, great,
Wow.
great. This
Wait,
is gonna be
so
really.
you CG your clothes on the screen? That's
Yeah, it's
these
like
are
a
all
Zoom setting. Like it's
digital
a
clothes.
Zoom. Yeah, it's a Zoom background setting.
okay. Did
like
he answer
paper-
B yet?
Paper dolls.
No, Corey has not put an answer in the comments yet. Oh, but Corey says B.
Okay, great. Here we
Hey,
go. Last
thanks,
one.
no, celebrate, Pete. Could you please celebrate that answer a little bit?
Yay, nice job.
Oh, thanks.
Okay, here we
You're
go.
doing a great job on your own, by the way, Pete.
This is really good. We're not part of this.
Okay, here we go. Question number 3. DC also announced a new creative team under Wonder Woman starting in March. Who will be one of the co-writers? Is it A, Greg Pak, B, Becky Cloonan, or is it C, Paula Abdul? So it's going to be A, Greg Pak, we love you, but you're not the answer to this. Or is it going to be B, Becky Cloonan, which is correct and makes a lot of sense. Shout out to Paula Abdul.
MC Scat Cat.
MC Chris, what?
MC Scat Cat, her famous dance partner.
Yeah,
Oh, right, of course, yeah.
Paul Abdul.
Yeah, opposites attract. I mean, that was a great
Another
video.
famous star.
Yeah. Well done. Well done, yeah.
Because Pete, you have in this time you can also talk about other stars that because you always obviously hang out in all the best parties as the star of trivia.
Sure. I get to see, go underneath
Oh,
the...
B? Is B the answer?
B is the answer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Guys,
All
you got
right.
to come back because people say they tune in to see your faces and they're
Oh,
heartbroken
okay.
right
All
now.
right.
Ah! Not this.
Oh, man, I got
sheer-
my camera all foggy.
Yeah,
my
yeah.
hot
You got some
hands.
dirty fingers, Alex.
Just have some hot hands.
So it's
Hot hands.
Kevin was correct. It is robots, and he called it early.
Nice. I mean, he probably has a list of movies that you haven't said yet, and you're almost out.
Oh, I'm getting dangerously close. Yes.
Folks, if you're not watching live, I've become directed by J.J. Abrams, which is pretty exciting.
Wait,
Congrats,
wait.
dude.
Yeah, I love the lens flare, but please tell Corey how to get.
Oh,
to
sure. Corey, congratulations. You won a $25 gift card at Midtown Comics. Shoot us an email at comicbookclublive@gmail.com, and we will get that off to you so you can enjoy comics at the safety of your own home.
And
Pete,
it is going to take a little bit, so don't get too bummed if it doesn't come right away. It takes a little bit to go.
yeah, they enter it manually, so it takes a little while. I'm really trying to get... Oh, there we go. Now it's gone. What was the secret movie, Pete? Did you already say?
Yeah, I
Robots, he said it. Alex, come on.
Robots. I'm sorry. I was very distracted by my lens flare. Folks, as we all know, tomorrow is New Comic Book Day, unless you're DC Comics, in which case today was New Comic Book Day. What are you guys looking forward to, Pete?
I'm looking forward to Lock and Key, Sandman, Hell and Gone, number 0, and Usagi Yojimbo, number 15.
Just a little note on the Lock and Key thing. It's actually a helpful primer for folks. It's not necessarily new material. It's Lock and Key, Unlock the Moon. Is that the name of the story? The one that was kind of the Little Nemo inspired one.
Right.
And also the first issue of Sandman. So it's a great way of getting prepped for this new big crossover that they're going to be kicking off. Justin, what are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to this new comic called Homesick Pilots, #1, which I've seen a lot of promo on this book, and it's the art looks fantastic, and it sort of has I think it's like fun, irreverent, and pretty horrifying, I think.
Yeah, there we go. I'm looking forward to the comic book history of animation. #1 is coming out from IDW tomorrow. Fred Van Lente, Ryan Dovelevy doing the thing that they do so well, this time about the history of animation. That's great. It's always a pleasure to read their stuff because it's informative, it's interesting, and it's also funny at the same time. And we're going to have reviews for many of those things in our Stack podcast, which goes Wednesday at 9 a.m., both in the Comic Book Club feed
so thorough.
and in its own Stack feed. And folks, I think that's it for the show. So, before we go, a couple of people we want to thank. We want to thank Scott Zakarin and James Gavsie for the Rideshare podcast, which you can check out on Digital Sky right now. Also, Ryan Haack with BRIC-A-BRAC, #2, a fantasy Christmas story on Indiegogo right now. Next week, we're going to have two of Pete's favorite people are going to be here on the show. Art Baltazar and Franco are going to be here. Yeah, your old buddies, your Comic-Con buddies. I love, Pete, how you're constantly surprised by this. Like it's not on a Google Doc that we all share.
Again, Pete gets all his news from Comic Book Club, especially about Comic Book Club.
Yes. Anyway, they're going to be on the show next week to talk about Arkham Maniacs, their new book from DC Comics. So that should be a lot of fun. A couple of things to plug. Umbrella Podcademy, our Umbrella Academy podcast, is once again coming out sporadically, but we promise it will be coming out as we make our way through season 2. Also, as plugged before, Chilling Podcast of Sabrina, or Chilling Adventures of Sabrina podcast, is coming back at the end of the month, so never subscribe to that. Also, highly recommend subscribing to Riverdale After Dark, or Riverdale podcast, as stuff is coming out about Riverdale, and we're going to put out podcasts about that. Patreon.com/Comic Book Club, iTunes, Android, Spotify, Stitcher, or the app of your choice to subscribe and listen to the show at Comic Book Live on Twitter, comicbookclublive.com for this podcast and many more. Until next time, we're Comic Book Club. See you next week.
Good night, guys. Finish your vermouth. It's actively right now.
One more.
There it is.
Roll of threes. Got to do it. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.